It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Well, welcome to Inside the Patch. It's 1430 ESPN, your Valley local sports leader. And we've got Brian Noe here. And I know this is weird for you, Brian, because you have helped me get through my Raiders for the last couple of years. You know, you're there for me. I know deep down inside you have an affinity towards the Fins, the Dolphins, you know. But you've always been a straight shooter. You have said things I didn't want to hear, and yet I feel like that's who you are. You're not here to say what you think you should say. You're here to call it what it is. And
that's pretty much how I get down, Gnarly. You know, you've known me for a little while. I've known you for a little while, and that's what I've always done. For better or for worse. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes it makes people hate me. I could say that. But I'm just going to tell you what I think. That's how I've always rolled.
Well, but I think the key to any of this sports interactive stuff is it's more than just reporting the sports. Anybody can do that. It's having an opinion, and it's making an assessment, backing up your opinion, and maybe that means ruffling some feathers, you know? And I know the way your mind works too. I can tell you absorb a lot more than I do. Like you'll say things, I'll go, "Oh yeah, that's that guy's name." You know, it's the way you internalize it and present it. And I am a little biased. I am a little Raider friendly. I'm a little, you know, I'm a fan more than I am a sports reporter. I feel like, you know.
Well, hey man, nice win for the Raiders. You know, they've won back-to-back games with Antonio Pierce. That's great. And to beat the Jets the way that they did, it was a low-scoring game, but it doesn't have to be a work of art. They found a way to win the game. And it was a nationally televised game. That's good. It's something to build on.
And it's something about, you know, you got to have some motivation. Now, you can't be the player's best friend, but you don't have to be the opposite, the curmudgeon either. There's some happy medium. But as you know, okay, how many games can you win on this? Like, hey, we're all united together now, you know? There comes a point where, okay, now you can't just live on that, I don't think.
No. I mean, they're going to win a few more games, but it's not going to be anything crazy. It's just the roster is what it is. There are holes on that roster, and Aiden O'Connell is a rookie quarterback, right? Like, it's not just going to be this winning streak that doesn't end. It's going to end on Sunday. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to end on Sunday.
Well, but I feel like O'Connell's still not perfect, but I feel like he's learning something. I feel like, he's getting better, you know? And I think for the Raiders, it starts, everything's the line. If we have no blocking, we can't run. If we have no blocking, we can't protect the quarterback, and then we're done.
Well, that's the thing. Antonio Pierce said it at halftime. He's like, we're a running team. Certainly his mindset has been run the ball, and it's worked, right? Like Josh Jacobs didn't get off to a great start against the Jets, who play real defense, but you look at the end of the game, he put together a pretty nice game, and they leaned on him a lot. So, yeah, if they're able to run the ball effectively, that helps their defense. It keeps your defense off the field. There's just a trickle-down effect. So they've been more successful running the ball with Antonio Pierce there. So we'll see how long they can maintain that going forward.
Well, I started thinking about, remember when Mike Singletary, he kind of came as an interim coach for the Niners, and then they hired him. But then I think, wait, Singletary kind of had that Bill Belichick thing. Like, I'm laying down some new law, and it's going to be. He wanted to change the culture, but maybe in a meaner kind of way, you know. And he was a bona fide superstar, where Pierce seems like he's more of a coach, you know, than he was. And I don't think he's coming and saying this is the law. I know everything, but he is saying, you know, I expect this level if you want to be the team.
Well, listen, he's done a good job. He's beaten the two New York teams. You know, the Giants are freaking brutal. So you take that into account. But the Jets have talent, and the Jets play real defense. So to win that game, that's a good thing, obviously. So I think Antonio Pierce, I don't think he's tried too hard. That's the best thing I could say is he's just who he is. He's not making the job more complicated than it already is. He's just like, we need to run the ball. Let's do that. And keep it simple, stupid, right? It's the KISS method. I think that works very well, especially when you're an interim head coach, right? He's just getting his feet wet, so why make it more difficult than it already is? I like his general approach.
I think things got so bad with the Raiders when they didn't hire Bisaccia and they brought in the other guy that I think his job, this is his job because he's got the locker room. Barring just something ridiculous, I think they're going to keep him, even if we lose 4 more games, if the culture's right, if it feels right. You can lose a game. You can lose a game and feel good about it. But then you can win a game and feel horrible about it. That's where we were earlier this year.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot left in the season that will absolutely go into how they assess Antonio Pierce, if he's the head coach going forward or not. So there's a lot that can happen between now and the end of the season. Think about Jeff Saturday. Now, hear me out, because I think Antonio Pierce is doing a better job. But Jeff Saturday won his first game against the Raiders, and it's like, whoa, this is crazy Jim Irsay, totally unconventional, but is there a method to the madness? And then the next thing you know, they're losing every other game and getting blown out by the Cowboys. And so I just want to see how it goes for the Raiders from here on out. It's great that they've started off with 2 straight wins, but he's got to string together a lot more wins, I think, to be the permanent head coach. And it's not to say he can't. It's just there's a lot more to be done for him to get that gig.
Well, there's a cheetah that we're playing this week. That might set the tone. If the cheetah runs completely wild and embarrasses us, then maybe not. But if we can keep it close. And the reason I say that is because I think our defense is playing okay, but they can't take 3/4 of the snaps,
Yeah.
That's going to be a big thing,
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's going to be a much greater test. Think about the Giants. Daniel Jones, who's not even good, got hurt. And Tommy DeVito comes in, right? And then last week it's Zach Wilson. And Zach threw a really costly interception toward the end of that game. Now it's Tua, the Dolphins offense on the road, right? There were 2 straight home games for the Raiders under Pierce. So you're right. This is a much greater test against a much better offense. You are playing dial-up speed internet. This is high-speed internet when it comes to the Dolphins at home.
Did you see the cutaway to DeVito's family? And I'm not going to judge, but I'm going to judge. It was Jersey Shore. It was Joey Buttafuoco or Andres Clay, and his wife was like, "Oh, I mean, I didn't hear him talk. I just saw them, and I was like, oh, is Snooki there too? It looked like Jersey Shore, and all I could see was the gold, the lot of gold, and the hairs come back, and I was just like, this is their moment. Their DeVito is playing pro ball. He's probably not going to get a chance ever again, but that was their moment. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like from a sitcom. It was funny.
It's crazy, man, because you'll see it with these young quarterbacks, and you'll hear the commentators say it. They're like, Chris Collinsworth said it during the Raiders game. He's like, you've got 2.2, 2.3 seconds to get rid of the football.
Yep.
If you look at your first guy and he's gone, the ball has to come out. You can't just tuck it again and expect to have enough time.
Well, what's making me laugh is so we play the Chicago Bears, and that guy, the arm wrestler's kid, it's like we got all these second or third stringers with these funny stories. And I'm like, you got arm wrestler dad, you got Joey Buttafuoco, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? Is this fake?
And you just had Zach Wilson, remember, what was the story with his mom? There's a whole story.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about her, and isn't she a pretty good looking mom or something?
Yeah. That was at the draft where she's a good looking mom. But there was something, I think, this last off season.
Somebody said something about
it. Zach Wilson was like hooking up with her girlfriend.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just saw a thing with what's the cheetah's name? Hall, right? No. Yeah.
Tyreek Hill.
Hill. I was thinking Devontae Hall. I don't know. Tyreek Hill. It was a game a couple weeks ago, and he went to get the ball to his mom, and some guy grabbed it. Well, yeah, he didn't know it was his mom, but then Tyreek tracked the guy down and found out the story, and the guy was nice, and he walked into a restaurant with a camera crew and brought him the ball and said, "Thank you. You gave it to my mom," and you know, he goes, "Oh man!" But there was a second where he looked kind of nervous, like, "Oh no, this guy's coming to get some revenge on me." But it was pretty classy. But I saw it, I go, "Oh, that," because he saw Tyreek and you could see the fear. But then I think he saw the cameras. He's like, "Oh, he's gonna kill me in front of all these people." So I think we're good.
Oh man, that's fun. I don't know what website you go to get your Tyreek Hill news. Like he wants to be a porn star.
Yep.
He did this whole thing with the football you just explained. I haven't heard any of these stories. You're my source for Tyreek Hill news.
Well, it's, you know what it is? It's Twitter. He's big on Twitter, and so and I only like dumb things, you know.
Yeah.
I saw okay, just before you came on, it was this average looking girl, and you hear the guy go, "Hey, did you fall from heaven?" And she goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, that's how you messed up your face." Then I was like, "That's gosh, so." It was really? so mean, so mean. And I'm addicted also to small kids cussing. I can't. It's wrong. It's wrong. But you know they learned it from somewhere, and then when they're using it correctly, it's just like the funniest thing. But it's wrong. I'm not for it. But it's my weakness.
So you watch all these videos of little kids cussing?
What happens if you watch one and you're going to like it, the algorithm starts kicking them at you. Like, apparently you like profanity with 8 and under, which is wrong. But it's something about it cute and wrong. That's my guilty pleasure, I guess. It's like
that's so great, man. I'm gonna have to check some of that out.
I'm just like, oh. One of them, his mom was on the phone, and she's talking, and the kid goes, "Mom, can I say a bad word?" And then she goes, "I'm on the phone. Can I? Okay, fine." And she running out the door. You're just expecting like, "Hey, doo-doo head" or something. No, she pulls off a 2-sentence rant of MF. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" But she has permission. She would have got permission. She got the okay, and then she just let him have it. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I did not see that coming. All right,
well, forward some of those my way. If there's something that you think is really hilarious.
You know what? Then I'm an enabler, and I'm going to get you hooked. And next thing you know, we're going to have a podcast just on kids cussing.
I don't need 19 of them. I just need 1 or 2 that you think are really funny.
It's like the Pringles chips, man. One's not enough, and there's so many out there. It's like,
Maybe there'll be one with Josh McDaniels the next time. You know. Just catch him on the street. "Hey, Josh, what are you doing right now?" And he's bleep, bleep, bleep. You know.
So. I mean, he's got a payday. He's got money. But do you think he watched the game?
That's a great question. I really don't know. What would you do? I don't know what he did. What would you do?
I don't think I would right away. I think because, first off, if you have the announcers up, they're just talking about him the whole time, how bad he was or the culture was bad. You know, I think I walk away with maybe pick up cricket or something. Go take your sports brain somewhere else, because do you want to ever jump back in those shoes again? I will need some time, you know.
I don't know what he would do. That's really interesting because I can understand someone saying, hey, they fired me. It's better just to distance myself.
Right.
I'm just going to occupy my time with something else. But that's easier said than done. Think how curious you would be
right
to watch the game. Maybe not beginning to end, but you don't watch any portion of the entire game. I don't think I could do that.
Well, the problem is, too, though, this is like his second time this has happened, and it's very similar. So now you are kind of that, whether it's fair or not. You're a guy that loses the locker room, and they get rid of you, and everyone hates you from that place on. You know, that's not changing. You got two more. Half the AFC West teams hate you. You know.
Well, listen, I think he'll be a coordinator again. I think he'll be an assistant coach again. I don't think he's going to be a head coach again.
I don't think ever. And I'm thinking, I think I would step away. I would go coach my kids' sports or something.
What, altogether? As an assistant?
I think, think how much responsibility. Going from a head coach job, you're kind of the spokesman for the whole team. You have to make decisions. Sometimes it could be the stupidest thing, like kind of snow cones do you guys want this way? I mean, there's some stuff bleeds over to where they want to know your opinion. Hey, we're thinking about doing a foam finger day. Are you down with that? You cool with that? Yeah, fine. That's fine. No, I don't like foam. I don't want foam in the stadium. Throws off my numbers. You know, I don't know. Just there's so many things that we don't think about. You know.
Well, listen, man. I just think that if you want to go, if you want to play devil's advocate, let's say you're a lawyer and you're arguing on the behalf of Josh McDaniels. Okay. He's your client. Okay. The first thing I would point to is quarterback. Who's this quarterback in Denver? Who is the guy?
Tebow.
That was with John Fox, right? But McDaniels, I want to say it was, I'd have to go back and look. It might have been Trevor Siemian. I can't even remember for sure, but he didn't have a top-of-the-line quarterback.
Right.
And then you look this past season, you've got Jimmy G and Aiden O'Connell. Like, again, the results should have been better than what they were. I'm not telling you McDaniels is this Vince Lombardi present day in the making, but
isn't this part?
It's not like he had a top 10 quarterback and he just stinks as a head coach. He didn't have close to that.
But he chose this. Well, I really think Brady was the guy. I really think that was the plan from the get-go, that maybe we can get Brady to come back and play. I really, that's because it kind of came out of left field that we're going the Patriot way. And who knows?
Man, it's, what's funny is it's a little bit like Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Where Devontae requested a trade, ended up with the Raiders. Look at his quarterbacks. You know, it's funny, like, no one's throwing Devontae under the bus and being like, hey, what's up with your production? We get it.
Right.
You have Jimmy G and Aiden O'Connell. You're not going to be putting up these just sick numbers. So, like, why is that okay for Devontae, but it's not okay for Josh McDaniels? That doesn't make sense.
It's true. No, that's true. You know what I feel like as I'm telling you these things? I feel like my dad, I just dumped my stepmom, right? And I'm complaining about her. I didn't have anything to do with her being there. I didn't really like her there. And I thought I was stuck with her. She wasn't my favorite person. And all of a sudden she's out the door. And now I'm saying, well, I don't know. I never really liked her anyway. You know, that kind of thing. and now here I am wasting my time speaking about him, you know, but then I do want to know, you know, did he watch the game? I don't know why I want to know. It doesn't matter, but I want to know.
I find it hard to believe he avoided the whole thing.
Because he's too vested. He's too vested. Well, I've left stations and I would watch to hope that it falls apart. But then when it does it,
that's part of it too. I mean,
right?
There's a part of him that wanted that. I would imagine he just got fired.
Yeah.
But there's a part of him. He's got real relationships with many people still in that organization.
Well, he brought there was his people. He brought a lot of them in.
Right. So I don't know that you can avoid that. I'm so curious who the quarterback was. I remember them getting to, I think, 6-0 with Brandon Marshall. Remember the wide receiver? They had their goofy throwback uniforms on. And Josh McDaniels was like fist pumping it on the sideline, and then poof, straight downhill from there.
Well, he started out 6-0. I think it was like they were thinking this was the greatest decision ever. This is perfect. He's a genius. And then whoop.
Yeah, and then things took a turn. Let's see. So that would be your 2009 Broncos and part of 2010.
Started with an L. Started with an L. I want to say, is it? I just remember seeing it.
Oh, I should have known. You'll know now. His main quarterback that first year was Kyle Orton.
And then he went to
who it was.
Okay, Orton.
Kyle Orton. Yeah. Kyle Orton. What? Future Hall of Famer? No.
Probably not.
No.
Yeah, probably. No, I don't see a yellow jacket.
Short of Canton in a gold jacket right there. I'm just telling you, it was Kyle Orton in next season too. And you're right, it was Tim Tebow. I think John Fox might have taken over and
right.
The Tebow thing. By the way, how did John Fox do? Did John Fox just crush it?
No, did he have a heart attack on the sideline
in Chicago when he went over there? No.
Yeah.
He didn't crush it with Tebow. I'm just telling you, quarterback matters. Hey, they can win when Peyton Manning's there, but when it's Tim Tebow, when it's Kyle Orton, when it's Jimmy G, look, man, it's not going to be great.
Well,
look at Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is arguably the greatest head coach of all time. They are 2-8, and Mac Jones is brutal.
Yeah. Well, there was something came out this week where someone leaked that Belichick is going to be there for the speculation was that Belichick leaked it to give Robert Kraft a message saying, I have a huge number. If you want to fire me, I'm getting every dime. But it's, hard to read Belichick because he's made of stone, I think.
Yeah. They're not going to fire him during the season. He won 6 Super Bowls. I want to see in the offseason, though, if Robert Kraft wants to move on and start fresh. I wonder if Belichick's like, well, you're going to have to fire me. I'm not resigning. We're not having a mutual parting of ways. I really wonder if he digs his heels in.
Probably, But Belichick is the keeper of stats and things, and he doesn't want to tarnish his stats anymore. I mean, he's got great numbers. Oh, time to step aside.
Yeah.
I wonder if his Hall of Fame jacket will have sleeves or not.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
A hoodie. They give a hoodie.
Yeah, they give him a gold hoodie with sleeveless jacket. That is one of your best ideas yet. I love that idea.
All right, so we got the Dolphins. The Finns coming off a loss in Germany. So they're mad about that. A 2-week vacation, basically. 2 weeks to plan for the Raiders. And they're sitting back watching all this stuff. And they're like, oh, no. Figure out how to block Max Crosby. Just take it to the side, and then you got us. I mean,
Max Crosby is fantastic. I love that dude. But that's not a good defense collectively.
No. It needs help. But honestly, in the last couple of years, if we left 17 seconds on the clock and the other team needed 2 scores, I was nervous. It's like I at least feel, but I do expect the flag. I mean, after every play, I'm like, oh, where's the flag? It's got to be. I'm flinchy. I'm like, oh yeah, I guarantee flag. And so, we just did pick up. We picked up a new Patriot. Did you hear about that? Jones, who's got he was cut by the Patriots. This guy has a gun charge because he was trying to put 2 guns on a plane, but he did go to high school, and Pierce was his coach in high school at Pauley, Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack Jones also sang The Love Boat. Not him, but I was looking him up, and he goes, this is the guy that sings the Love Boat song.
I wonder if the Love Boat song guy went to Arizona State, like the football player. I don't know.
It's funny because that's right there in Florida, the Love Boat. They go right out of there. They go right to the Bahamas. It's it just has that feel. Maybe he should sing the Love Boat theme.
I hope both Jack Jones went to the same college. That would be amazing. How do you feel about your Raiders against the Finns this Sunday?
I have that slight feeling that we have been overlooked. There's a chance we're going to be overlooked. There's a chance if we can keep it close, if and only if we can keep the defense off the field, we might have a chance to ink out a field goal win. But I don't think we're going to blow anybody out. It will be a dogfight, and that's me being I'm the hopeful romantic. I'm the hopeful fan. That's what do we have
to bet something on this game?
We might have to. I know I'm going to eat tuna from the 70s that wasn't dolphin safe all week long. I'm going to find me some. What could we bet? What do you want to bet?
Oh, man, I have lots of ideas. You might not like any of them. You could go the more radical route, which is shave your head. Loser shaves his head. That's the more radical route.
Right.
The less radical route, and this is fun, doesn't involve money. I did lose to one of my buddies when the Dolphins lost to the Chiefs. And so it was my idea. You have to change the background of your phone for an entire month. So if the Dolphins win, your phone has a Dolphins background, like with your apps and all that, like your main wallpaper.
I kind of like that.
So I would have to pencil you in for December. So I'm backlogged, right? It's Chiefs for the rest of November.
Because you're already chiefied right now.
I'd have to pay that off in December when I have my other debt paid, but there's that route as well. We could do something goofy. You could go, you're a creative guy. You could go something off the wall if you want.
All right. I'm not going to decide today, but we'll make a bet. We'll send it out, and then we'll figure it out.
How about this?
Yeah.
Loser writes a poem about the winning team.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. And must include our names in it, too.
That's fine. But it should be about the game Sunday.
Okay.
And it can't be critical. It's got to be something that you would dislike, right? Like, if the Raiders win, I have to write something that is very positive. Very, very complimentary of the Raiders.
Okay, and we also have to make a short video and post it that says, my team lost, I'm switching. For me, I am now a Dolphin fan.
No, you're going way too far.
That's too much. Because someone take it out of context.
Yeah, I think you gotta,
all right. Well, I like the poem for sure. Poem is done. That's a bet. But then, if you think of something else more creative or whatever, I don't know, to add to it, the poem's happening.
Okay, poem happens, and maybe what's your big social media of choice? What do you use the most?
Probably Instagram is got a lot. I got a lot of Instagram followers.
How about your profile picture? It goes away from whatever it is
to Dan Marino
for 2 weeks. We'll give it 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you'd have to go Dolphin. I use Twitter the most.
Okay.
So I'll change it to like a Raider logo for a couple of weeks. How about that to sweeten the pot? I like that.
Okay, I like it too. But what now? God forbid there's a tie. What happens? Nothing happens.
It's just a wash. Yeah.
It's a wash. Okay.
Yeah.
Because ties happen all never. Now there's going to be one. You know there's going to be one now.
There hasn't been one yet this year, but I think there were a couple last year. Pretty sure there were a couple. Yeah.
You know, one of the worst football pools we did for Super Bowl, it was the impossible pool. And so we didn't tell everybody what was on. You picked your squares, but and the whole thing was, look, it's like return kickoff for a touchdown, win by a safety. It was things that probably aren't going to happen. And then basically, if no one hits any of them, then we just do a random drawing. And that's what that's the hit. But like opening kickoff for a touchdown. And so we had, you broke it up into 4 quarters. And so they were the same thing, like AFC team. And it's, you know, it was dumb, but you're just hoping for just onside kick first half.
Right.
You know,
it's crazy because some people hit those insane bets. One of my buddies sent me a screenshot. He had a $30 bet on the Raiders game last week. $30 to win like $105,000.
What?
And I think he had 5 legs. And I don't know that maybe one of them hit, but it was both quarterbacks to throw an interception. It was both teams to score a defensive touchdown.
Oh, wow.
And then it was also Devontae Adams scoring a touchdown. I think those were the 5 legs, and it didn't come close. But look, man, some people hit these miracle. I bet $5 to win $25K, and it's like, really? That's but some people hit them. It's crazy.
One time when the Rams, when they won the Super Bowl with the Grace on Turf, they were 200 to 1 if you had pre-bought the ticket, you know, before the season. Right. That stuff happens. I remember my buddy, it was one of those real expensive pools where it's like, I'd say $1,000 a square, something ridiculous to where every quarter you're going to win $5,000.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think it was the Broncos scored. It hits his number. They missed the extra point.
Oh.
It's like he's spinning it, celebrating. He couldn't believe it. And all of a sudden, oh. So, but somebody else has a story where I remember they missed the extra point. I won $5,000. You know? So somebody wins.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. All right. So we got the Twitter, Instagram profile bet. We've got a poem. For the loser. All right.
That worked. I think it's a deal.
I'm down with that. Okay. And I do have some ties with the Dolphins and the fact that I used to look like Dan Marino, and I told people I was Donnie Marino, his brother, you know, in Miami one time, and it worked. And then I was working at Wimbledon in 1988, and I'm sitting with this guy, and we talked for the whole. It was Jimmy Cephalo. You know, he played in the 70s and maybe early 80s, but he was a tennis announcer for NBC.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know who he was. And I talked to him for like a half hour, you know?
So wait a minute. You worked Wimbledon?
Yeah. I was a gopher and I didn't even know much about tennis, but I sat with Charlie Jones, the announcer of the Raiders, and that's how I got into radio, because I met Johnny Carson. It's a whole story. It's a whole thing. Wow. But that was my introduction into media, and I came back to America and got into radio because Johnny Carson.
So you were living in England.
I had a work visa.
Wimbledon.
I had a work visa, okay, for 6 months. It was a college program. And my buddy loved tennis. And so we go to this place, that job placement, right? And one of them was Wimbledon. And he goes, oh, let's go work there. And we were honestly like nothing, like glorified security guards to set up people, you know? But I ended up being put right where all the media people were, Bud Collins and all the John McEnroe. And, you know, I was right in the middle. And that's when I first kind of been around famous people, and I liked it. And it was like crazy. And I met Deckenberg. He was the big announcer. And I'd never seen how they mix stuff down. It was just cool, eye-opening. And they were on their way to Seoul, Korea. It was 1988. So this crew that I met, these people, they left Wimbledon to go to Seoul, Korea to cover the tennis for the Olympics. And,
wow.
But that was my introduction to all this media stuff. And
that's crazy.
I even got to, like, we stayed up one night and we went out and we hit on we put on clothes, changed our clothes. We were playing tennis on like court 1. And this is how dumb I was. I didn't even know it was really grass. I thought, because it's like putting green. It doesn't look like grass until you really look at it, but it's rolled tight. It's like the tightest putting green you've ever been on. And then I'm saying dumb things like, hey, they're playing on grass. People are like, oh, yeah. Really, Sherlock? Just figure that out.
Right.
It's kind of
their
thing.
Imagine that's right before the championship match, and it's just wrecked. They're just divots in it, like you were on the putting green or like you're on the driving range. Or something.
They didn't have cameras like they should have had. But so it was funny when so Johnny Carson was there. The British people didn't know who he was, and I just go up talking to him, and he could have been nicer. For 45 minutes, I walked around with him, and I think it's like Stefan Edberg, who won it that year, was playing a practice match with Jimmy Connors. That's everyone plays practice matches, right? And here comes me and Johnny walking around the corner, and they were so nice to me because they thought I was his son or nephew or something. They could have been nicer, you know?
Huh.
And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. They think I'm with him. I like this. And that's when I realized Jimmy Connors looked a lot like Bruce Jenner. A lot. Like they had that same haircut, that Wheaties haircut.
He was the original Tiger Woods. I remember an old Sports Illustrated where he's doing like the fist pump.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pretty funny. All right. So we got that. Idea. We got that out there. I'll send you a picture. I have a picture of me and Johnny Carson. I'll send it to you.
And send me the kids cursing.
Kids cursing. Well. I got a lot of homework, man. I probably got to write a poem too. Now I'm upset about that.
Oh, you're gonna have to write a poem, Gnarls. I'm sorry.
What rhymes with Tyreek? Winning streak, and Tyreek.
Winning streak, Tyreek.
This is coming together already. All right, Brian. Thank you so much, man. I would say go Fins, but I'm not. So go Raiders.
Yeah, hey, man. Good hanging with you. And hopefully we get some fun fireworks on Sunday, man.
I'm sure we will. All right, brother. Thanks, man. All right. Thanks for hanging out with Inside the Patch. I'm Gnarley Charley. This is Brian Noe, and we'll see you next week.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.